Hello, my friends. It's Coach Rodney Allgood, coming to you with another video that will help you on your way as you try to move on from the Jehovah's Witnesses. Before I get started, remember to hit that like and subscribe button so you can be alerted when I make these videos. Let's go ahead and build up the viewership here. And I will try my best to give you a whole library of things to help you to move forward as you create your new life, as you become the new you, the new improved you after leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses. Today we're going to talk about the bad traits that many people still have after they leave. Bad traits that you learned as a Jehovah's Witness that will not serve you as you try to build your new life. So let's go through some of these bad traits. Number one, probably the worst bad trait, is the trait of judgment, whether it's judgment of others or judgment of self. Jehovah's Witnesses are very judgmental people, judgmental to the people around them in the congregation and surely judgmental to the people outside of it. Judgment. The problem with judgment is that when you are a very judgmental person and you're judging other people all the time, when it's your turn to go through something, you really become judgmental upon self. You become very self-judgmental. The problem with being judgmental on others is you won't give yourself a break when it's your turn. And it's always going to be your turn at some point, right? We all make mistakes as part of being human, but we can be very judgmental. First of all, we are judgmental on other people. If they don't see the world the way we see it sometimes, we can be very harsh on them. We can be we can look through very narrow lenses as we look at other people because that's what Jehovah's Witnesses did. They looked at the world through very narrow lenses and they were very judgmental on everybody. If you made a mistake as a Jehovah's Witness, it wasn't where you just dusted yourself off and kept on going with life, learning the lesson from the mistake. You got judged on the mistake. Many times there's an announcement in front of the whole congregation shaming you for the mistake that you made. Or you got disfellowship and 2-3 years later you're still talking about a mistake you made, 2-3 years earlier. That's ridiculous. But it can give us a very, very narrow way of viewing the world and a very judgmental way of seeing everybody. As witnesses, we thought we had the answer to everything. We had the truth, so it makes us very judgmental. It's a kind of conceit, right, to think that you're right and everybody else is wrong. But the bigger problem is self-judgment. And as long as you are in a state of self-judgment, it's very hard for you to succeed in life. We can be very hard on ourselves. Our self-talk can be very, very negative. And there's no way for you to build the kind of life that you want if you're always putting yourself down in your self-talk, that chatter that goes on in your head. No one talks to you more than you talk to yourself. So we've got to let the judgment go. Stop being so judgmental upon others and upon yourself. When you make a mistake, take the lesson so you can get better. What judgment does is judgment robs you from the ability to take the lesson. You're so stuck in judgment, you don't take the lesson. So you make the same mistakes over and over and over again because you don't glean the lesson. You've got to look at your mistakes the right way so that you grow from them. You don't want to shrink from your mistakes. You want to grow from them. Another bad habit that you take on from being a witness is right or wrong, black and white thinking. There's no gray. I'm right, you're wrong. We have the truth, everything else is wrong. No, there's a lot of gray. There's a lot of different ways to see things. People have opinions based on their circumstances, what they were taught, where they were raised, how they were raised. All kinds of things give people their perception of the world. But as a witness, it was very black and white. We take all of this, all of what the organization says, we take all of it, and all of this, we throw the baby out with the bathwater. Well, again, there's judgment in that, right? We're not opening our minds to growth. When we think we have the truth, that is the quickest way to ignorance. Remember, I'm going to say that again. Thinking that you have the truth is the expressway to ignorance, because there's no growth when you believe you have the truth. When you think you have the truth, then all you do is defend what you think. You don't grow. You're not open to other ideas and other thoughts, other philosophies. Everything's right or wrong, black and white. And there's no growth in living like that. So try to release that. Just be open to ideas. Even if you don't agree, be open to the thought. Just go, that's interesting. And maybe you just grab one little tidbit saying, I can resonate with that. I can resonate with this, but maybe all this other stuff I don't resonate with right now. That's how you grow, is being open. Open your mind. Stop thinking that you're going to find the truth. All you're going to find is more ways to grow. The second you think you have the truth is the second you stop growing. Another bad thing that we carry from being a witness is the lack of self-belief. We don't believe in ourselves a lot when we leave the witnesses, because you never got to truly be who you were. How are you going to believe in yourself when you don't know who you are? Self-belief. Everything in life starts with self-belief. You've got to believe in self. If you don't believe in self, you have nothing else. But when you live a life where you're always asking other people's opinions, what does the watchtower say? What do the elders think? How are you going to believe in self? How are you going to strengthen that muscle? You've got to believe in self. You see, you control people when you instill self-doubt. Self-doubt will make you always hold on to what's around you. Hold on to the elders. Hold on to the watchtower. Somebody who doubts they can swim is always going to wear that life preserver, is always going to hang on to something because they doubt their ability to swim themselves. It makes you reliant. As you get in the real world, you need self-belief. You've got to believe in self. You've got to have that confidence to know that you can create what's in your mind. You've got to know that the things that were given you, and the desires that were given you, and the callings that were given you were given to you specifically, so you can't wait around for other people to validate it. You've got to know that that's yours. Self-belief. Fortify your self-belief. Do affirmations. Just look up on YouTube and find affirmations. Just look up affirmations and convince your mind of things that empower you. Another thing that is left over from the witnesses is short-term thinking. When you are thinking that the end is coming at any minute, it gives you very short-term thinking. So you don't think of your future, you don't plan for your future. And most witnesses end up with a very miserable life as they get older. The world just shrinks in on them. They get less options, less choices, because at some point your life is based on earlier choices and earlier decisions. And if you're living on in a short-term way, you're going to have a hard life as you get older, right? Because witnesses think the new order is going to fix everything. Your whole life is based on, this fictional world to come and fix everything. So it's hard. It's hard when they get older because they have such short-term thinking. So think long-term. Be intentional about your life. Don't be reactional about life. Be intentional about life so you end up creating what you want. You've got to make intentional choices to get the result that you want. About money, about career, about everything. Be intentional. Remove that short-term thinking. The new world's not coming to save the day tomorrow, so you've got to create the world that you want for yourself. Another thing that can be left over from the witnesses is a thinking based on fear instead of courage. You control people by keeping them in fear. Fear of Satan, fear of worldly people, fear of independent thinking, fear. When you don't have a viewpoint that comes from courage, then it will come from fear. When it comes from fear, then you have the other problem we talked about, a lack of self-belief. How are you going to believe in self if you are filled with fear? Learn to operate from courage. I once heard it said by Maya Angelou that courage is the most important of qualities because you cannot engage the other worthy qualities consistently without courage. You showed courage by leaving the religion. Keep showing courage in your growth. Courage, not fear. Witnesses sowed you fear. From the time you were a little kid and you saw fire coming from heaven and dead people on the ground and dead babies and cars overturned, these horrible scenes that kept you in fear. Some of you get fearful when there's something that happens in a worldwide way, COVID or a war. Could this be the end of days? Oh my God, am I right? What if they're right? Fear. You get triggered so easily because you were fed fear. Courage. They taught you courage for the religion. You would die for the religion when you were a witness, but you had no courage for self. You had courage for your belief, right? You could sit in a stadium full of 50,000 people and sit during the national anthem, right? That's courage. Courage for your belief, but they taught you no courage for yourself. Courage. Courage over fear. Fear is poison. Fear brings doubt. Doubts will kill all your dreams. A little bit of doubt will kill a whole bunch of dreams. Courage. Another thing that we suffer from when we leave the religion is a dull intuition. Your intuition is dull because it wasn't a muscle that got strengthened. You have no intuition. That inner voice is silent. Or it feels silent. It's never really silent. We just can't hear it because we've ignored it for so long. Always wondering what other people think. Living on other people's ideas, not your own. Your intuition needs to be recalibrated. And you need to listen to that voice inside. So when you start understanding what intuition is, that's your inner guidance system. When you start understanding what intuition is, you'll be able to guide your life. Intuition is not just keeping you from what you don't want. It also leads you to where you do want. You start to hear your calling, that inner voice. Everyone's inner voice is unique. That's why one person can't tell another person about their intuition. The elders and the governing body and the watchtower are trying to tell you what to think. And you're violating your intuition. And when you violate your intuition, you're violating yourself. And there's no way you're going to have any clue who you are. You're disconnected from self because you're disconnected from your intuition. Another thing that we carry from the witnesses is worrying about others, worrying about appearances. The witnesses are a very appearance-driven religion. It's all about appearances. It's all about looking a certain way. That's why when you're a witness, you don't really know people. You just know how people are supposed to be. So how are you going to live a courageous life if you're always wondering if you're appearing the right way in front of people? No, appear the way you're supposed to appear. You can't worry about other people. If you worry about other people, that is the express way to not having what you want. You'll never get what you want if you're trying to impress everyone else. If letter A is happy with you and letter Z is happy with you and everything in between, you are being a chameleon. You're not standing up for anything. You're being what you need to be in front of people. And I know when I was a witness, I was a lot like that. I was the chameleon. There was no real me. Stop worrying about other people think. Worry about what you think. Worry about what you're feeling. I'm not saying don't listen to anybody. Absolutely listen to people that you admire, people that you feel make sound decisions, people who are worthy of being a mentor in your life, but don't try to keep pleasing people in general. Don't do that. Next, a lack of trust. Last but not least, a lack of trust. When you were taught not to trust anyone of the world, and then the religion that you trusted lets you down, you don't know who to trust. You don't trust anybody. And most ex-witnesses have an issue with trusting people because they don't want to be duped again. And we can't live life that way. But when we build up our intuition, we start knowing who to trust. We start knowing who to look for. And the first thing you need to know when you're trying to build up a sense of trust is you got to trust yourself. Most people that don't trust anybody don't trust themselves. They don't trust themselves because they don't know themselves. So get to know you. Get your base and your foundation right. And then you'll start to make prudent decisions. You'll start to outgrow all these qualities that I talked about, and your life will expand. You'll get bigger, the religion gets smaller, and you'll outgrow this whole mess that you've been put in. My friends, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope I said some things that make sense to you, that help your life and to move you forward. See you next time.